All right, Paine, give us an intro. Tell us a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey, some of the screw ups you made, some of the things you learned big lessons from, and take us to where you are today.
Awesome. Okay. So currently what I do is I'm a managing partner at this venture capital group called Fourth and One Ventures. So what I do today, I represent a ton of professional athletes: Will Levis, DeAndre Hopkins, um, AJ Cole, Sean Clifford, Andrew Sinde. I mean, I got a lot of athletes who I represent. And when I tell you the story, how I got from where I was to where I am today will make absolutely zero sense. I just tripped my way forward somehow, and I made it to where I am today. But my background, I played football at Rice University, graduated in 2018. But when I first got to Rice, my first year was 2013. And how many of you guys are athletes? A lot of you guys? A few of you? Okay, everyone. Perfect. Okay, then you'd get this. So my first year at Rice, uh, you know, you're just trying to survive, trying to figure out how college works, school, parties, everything. You're trying to figure out where you fit in, getting where you fit in. Well, after my first year at Rice was the first summer, and my first summer at Rice, uh, again, I've always been entrepreneurial. And I noticed we're all doing over the summer. There's a bunch of summer camps that come in. No one's on campus. You're going to take your summer classes. You're going to class, and then you just play Call of Duty for the rest of the day and rinse and repeat all summer long. So I'm like, all right, let's figure out how to make some money, because I don't know if you guys are getting any NIL or how stipends work, but we made $1,200 a month just for just being on campus, and that's what you use to um, rent and to make money. I mean, and to eat and whatever extracurricular activities you wanted to do. So one day I was at my dorm, and I noticed there was a whole bunch of mini fridges, microwaves, couches, TVs, all sitting on the side of the curb by one of the dorms. And then I noticed the next day all this equipment was gone, and I watched it happen again. So I went up to the it's called Housing and Dining, the janitorial staff. And I went up to them and I said, hey guys, like, what are you doing with all this stuff? And they go, well, summer camps are coming in, whatever, it's a science camp or whatever. They're all coming into these dorms, and Rice has a heavily international university. So there's a lot of Asian students that came in, and they leave for the summer, and the international students realized that it was cheaper to just buy new stuff than it was to put it in storage and then get it when they come back. So what they did is they left it all behind. When they left it behind, summer camps are coming in. They needed clean rooms. So what they did was they cleared it and threw it away. And I go, well, why are you throwing it all away? And they go, well, as employees of the university, we're not allowed to take any of the stuff that belongs to the students. So then I went to them and I'm like, well, I'm not an employee of the university. Like, can I take it? And they go, hey man, after 5 p.m., if no one claims it, it's all yours. So I went to the locker room and I said, hey guys, whoever has a pickup truck, meet me at this corner and help me haul this stuff to pawn shops. So for the next 2 weeks, we went to every single dorm. They're emptying out. And we just made a freaking assembly line and piled up mini fridges, microwaves, TVs, took it to the pawn shops until we literally filled every single pawn shop in Houston with old dorm stuff. And we probably made like $15,000 that summer just flipping stuff that wasn't even ours. And I'm like, okay, this is fun. This is cool. Then the housing and dining called me and goes, hey, do you guys do kegs? I'm like, I don't know. I was like 18. I'm like, yeah, sure, we'll do kegs. So how it works at Rice is every dorm or fraternity has a credit card that they can use for their parties or whatever they wanted to use it for. And they would throw these parties on campus, buy a bunch of kegs, and the next morning they were sitting all over the front yards. And the housing and dining is like, hey, this isn't a good look for the university. So they would just take the kegs, put them in the basement, and hide them. Well, every time you buy kegs, I know none of you bought a keg before, but there's a deposit you have to put down, and these deposits are like $60. So I just took all the kegs after they showed me where they were, because I was doing them a favor by clearing up room, and we probably returned 100 kegs. So 100 kegs times $60 that we just got free money on was 6K. And every year after that, little learning lesson I learned is be very appreciative of the people that hooked you up with the with the plug, And we bought them like a $50 Starbucks gift card. And they're like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. So that every summer from then on out, if they need anything moved, they call us. And it was the coolest thing ever. So then me and my roommates were like, hey, let's make a pact every year hereafter. Let's do something bigger and better than we did the year before. So my second year going into Rice, and I don't know if there's any like PETA guys in here, but we thought it would be a really, really cool idea because we wanted a pet because we just moved off campus. We thought getting a pet would be cool. Obviously, dogs are cool, but then you have to like board them up or figure out how to take care of them when football season rolls around. Well, I thought it'd be a really cool idea if we got a pet pig, fattened it up over the summer, had a pet for the summer. And then when fall camp came along and we didn't have time to take care of it anymore, we can make bacon for like the fall. I know it sounds terrible, but that was just my thought process behind it. I found a pig on Craigslist for $25. And I'm like, oh, great. Like, this is awesome. And I go pick up this pig. And this pig, guys, was the size of my fist. Like, you couldn't get one slice of bacon off this. And they're like, oh, it's okay. We'll give you 2 pigs. So I had 2 pigs the size of my fist. And I was like, okay, this isn't how math works, but there's still no bacon here. So I bring them back to my house. And these pigs are the cutest things. They're pink. They got hooves, curly tail, snouts, and they're just running around my house. And my roommates are like, "Oh my gosh, these are so cute. These are so fun. We have pigs." Well, that night they were the loudest things ever. They're just oink 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 going crazy loud. My roommates like had an intervention with me, like less than 24 hours of me having these things. Like, hey man, we got to get rid of these pigs. I'm like, all right, fair point. We'll get rid of them. So later that day, one of my roommate's girlfriends comes over and goes, oh my gosh, you guys got teacup pigs? Like, they're so rare and valuable. Where the heck did you get one at? I'm like, I don't know. What do you mean rare and valuable? She goes, my roommate at A&M just bought one for $300. I'm like, no crap. So I put it up on Facebook Marketplace for $250 just to see what happens. Next day, I got 10 calls on these pigs. And I'm like, holy crap, there's a pig market. So all summer long, we are importing baby pigs from Galveston, from College Station, from Tyler. We're just bringing these pigs, and we're literally flipping pigs. And there's such a demand for it that we're up in the price, 400, 500, 600, $700 for these pigs that I'm buying for $25. Like, I'm like, this is absolutely ludicrous what's going on. Then I get a call from my defensive coordinator. And okay, maybe we shouldn't record this, but it's fine. I get a call from my defensive coordinator, and he's like, hey man, come to my office. I'm like, oh shoot, I'm grounded. I don't know what happened. Go to his office, and he's like, hey man, I heard you making some money. I said, yes, sir. He goes, heard you make some pretty good money in this side hustle you got. I'm like, I am. He goes, I want to invest. I said, you want to invest? He goes, yeah, I want to invest. And I said, oh, okay. He goes, don't tell coach, don't tell compliance. I already talked to him, but here's $1,000. What can you do with it? I'm like, okay, easy. So I got $1,000, bought a couple pigs, flipped it. A couple days later, gave him back $2,000. He's like, oh my gosh, like, this is great. Thank you so much. Calls me in his office a week later. Hey, Paine, here's $3,000. What can you do with this? I'm like, oh crap. Okay. So I flipped some pigs, give him back like $5,000. Then I get a call from him. Hey, Paine, meet me in front of the facility. We're going to the bank. I'm like, oh shoot. Like, this is like that moment where like you're in too deep. Like, I don't know how many pigs I can flip for whatever amount of money he's about to give me. This man brings me $5,000. Says, what can you do with this? And I'm at this point, we're getting later in the summer. I'm like, I don't know if I buy enough pigs. So I'm in the locker room just stressing out. Like, I'm pacing. I'm like, if I don't give this guy his money, he's my coach. I'm never going to play again. Like, he's going to have a freaking send a hitman out for me. So what I did is I had this kid in the locker room. Again, I'm not a business guy. I just a side hustle guy trying to make a dollar. I had an offensive lineman. He was looking at me, he goes, Paine, man, you know what you got to do. I said, tell me the answer, man. Like, what do I do? How do I turn this $5,000 into something that's worth it? He goes, what you got to do, there's this app overseas that's about to get released in the United States called Pokemon Go. It's killing it over there. It's about to get released in the United States. You got to invest in Nintendo. I said, all right, cool. How do I do that? He goes, well, you can't invest it on the NASDAQ because it's not publicly traded in the United States. But I got a guy you can wire money to over in Europe that'll put in for you. And I'm like, oh my God, thank you so much. This is genius. Thank you. Wire the money, $5,000 over to this guy. It was supposed to be released in like a week. And I'm stressing out. I'm like, this guy screws me. Like, I just lost my coach's $5,000. How am I going to explain to him? I just sent his $5,000 over to Europe. Well, anyway, this thing launches. The stock went up from $16 to like $64 overnight. So I like 4x this guy's money. I gave him back $7,500 and I said, hey man, I'm out. I'm done. He goes, oh, thank you so much, whatever. Well, we have two pigs left in my backyard. There was a pink one and a black one. I had a teammate of mine who really wanted a pig. And at this point, we're getting into 2 days. So I'm like, here, just take it. You can have it for your fiance or girlfriend at the time. They called it Kevin Bacon. And they had this pig. This was their first pet, their first child as a couple, which that's important later on down the road. But one pig was left. I was trying to chase it. Went through a crack in my fence, in my backyard. Thought it was gone. Thought it was down the bayou. Not worrying about it. Whatever. We start our first practice of fall camp, and we just got a brand new end zone facility, new locker rooms, new weight room, new meeting room. So we're all sitting down there. Coach Bailiff, he was my coach at the time, gets up there, does whatever head coach does. You guys ready to win the national championship this year? We're like, yeah, Rice is going to go to the national championship. Let's go. This will be the best season ever. And he goes, before we start, I got a question for you. On the brand new Jumbotron, he pulls up a picture of this pig that is just screaming at the top of his lungs. He goes, anyone knows whose god dang pig this is? And everyone's laughing because everyone knows whose pig it is. And someone goes, oh, it looks like Blackie. That's what we called the pig because it was a black pig. And I'm like, no, I don't know. He goes, Paine, get to my effing office. I'm like, oh, geez. So I go to his office. He goes, what were you thinking? What are you doing? What is going on? I said, Coach, before you get mad, hear me out. I'm buying these pigs for $25, selling them for $700, good margins, right? He goes, Paine, there's no such thing as teacup pigs. Though they don't exist. You're buying baby pigs. They're going to turn into 400-pound pigs, and you're selling them as teacup pigs. He goes, that's fraud. And I go, is it? Because I'm buying them as teacup pigs from Craigslist. I'm just selling them as teacup pigs. And he goes, Paine, the reason I got a call is the SPCA saw a short, fat white guy with a beard and a black dude who was my roommate at the time running all over Houston selling these pigs. I said, okay, you caught me. That's me. He said, go to the SPCA and get your dang pig back because they will not stop calling me about this pig. So, all right, I'll go get it. So I go to the SPCA and I go, hey, ma'am, can I have I'm here for the pig. They go, how do we know it's your pig? I said, well, how many people came here asking for pigs? They go, sorry, we can't give you the pig back unless you show us proper documentation that it's your pig. I said, ma'am, no offense. I bought it for $25 with cash off Craigslist. Like, I don't have any paper. She goes, well, I can't give it back to you. I'm like, all right, cool. Well, go back to my coach. I'm like, they won't give it back to me. He goes, don't worry about it. We'll handle it. Okay. They keep calling my coach. He ignores them. They start calling the athletic director. He ignores them. Then they write an article in the Houston Chronicle saying Paine Matiscik, pig trafficker, Rice football, Rice University. I get a call from my coach. And I'm like, oh shoot. Like I'm just trying to play football now. Like whatever. He goes, you better go to the Houston Chronicle and fix this. So I have to go to the Houston Chronicle, which is like Dallas Morning News, and be like, hey, I understand how this looks. Not what it looks like. Can you please take down this article? This is, and they're like, you're just mad that you're going to lose your scholarship and get kicked off the team and get blacklisted by the business community. I'm like, you're right. I'm so sorry. Take it down. And I pretty much pleaded for this woman to take it down. They did. And that was just a learning lesson there is don't put anything on Facebook that you don't want to be down the road, because if you still look on Facebook, you can see pictures of me in my articles of flipping pigs. So that happened. And at this time, I was like a junior or sophomore. So my coach is like, listen, man, you're going to be here, unfortunately, for the next 2 to 3 years. You're going to do some entrepreneurial stuff. Just let me know what you do. Have a plan. So I don't have any surprises at, 12 o'clock at night, you're doing something that I can't defend you on. I go, fair point. So in Dallas, I'm sure y'all are in Abilene, so a lot of y'all are from Dallas, but there's snow cone trailers at like every corner in the summer. In Houston, there are no snow cone trailers. So I'm like, business opportunity, bring snow cones to Houston. So I go buy a snow cone trailer, paint it, call it Ice and Easy. It was great. Well, the thing about Houston, and the reason why there are no snow cone trailers, is when you register your business, they put a tracker on the side of your car. And at any point in time, they can look you up, find out exactly where you're at. And every single day, you have to do this thing where you take the trailer to a commissary on the other side of town, and you have to replace the old water with new water, and you get a ticket with a date on it for that day. If they come to you at your trailer and that ticket doesn't match the date that you're serving food, they can shut you down and slap you with a fat fine. So I'm like, I don't really feel like lugging this thing around all the way to the other side of Houston. What I learned was Rice University is a private university, so they are on a whole different rule book. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to keep it at Rice. So I went to my coach and said, hey, coach, can I set it up in front of the football camps? He goes, oh, absolutely. Like, yeah, as long as you're doing everything legally, I will support you. You can do it. So I popped it up right in front of the summer football camps at Rice. And, the kids, they're all young, third grade or whatever. They're like, they don't want to be at the camp. The mom's trying to get rid of them. They go, okay, if you go to the camp after the camp's over, I will buy you a snow cone. So every single day for like 3 weeks, 400 kids got dropped off, went to camp, and I had 400 snow cone sales that day. And it was awesome. I moved from there to the baseball camps, moved over to the basketball camps. Well, at this point, I was feeling like I was boss daddy. I'm like, I am killing it. This is great. I need to hire an employee. So I hired a cute little volleyball girl. She was all conference, basketball girl. She was all conference, cute girl, worked at Snow Cones in high school. And I'm like, you're hired. You have more experience than I do. So first day of me not actually working it, I was at the football facility, had a solo cup full of quarters. I was walking over to the Snow Cone trailer and a long line of kids. And the girl who I hired was outside the Snow Cone trailer. And I'm like, okay, like what's going on? There's a crowd around her, paying her by the hour. Don't know why she's not working. I get closer and she's just crying. She goes, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm like, I hope she didn't break anything because I don't got insurance on this stuff. Get closer, and all the parents around her are like, hey, Paine, man, she can't work for you right now. She cut herself a little bit. What do you mean she cut herself a little bit? I go into the snow cone trailer, and this ice machine got jammed. And instead of turning off the machine and getting like a stick to unclog the ice machine, she stuck her hand through the guardrail, went up to unclog the ice, chopped off her finger, took it out, was in shock, and sprinkler headed it all over the ceiling, on the wall, on the machine. I walk in there. I have a weak stomach. So I'm like, ugh, I'm like dry heaving walking out of this thing. My coach calls me. Hey, why am I getting calls from the head basketball coach telling me you're chopping off her girl's fingers? I said, I'm so sorry right now, coach. I can't talk. I'm in panic mode. I don't know what to do. I'm freaking out. So anyway, that happened. And yeah, I cleaned it up. I shut down operations on Rice's campus. That summer, this is 2017. This is right before Hurricane Harvey. I bought the snow cone trailer with the pig money and bought it for $7K. I made $7K worth of sales that summer, and then I sold the whole company for $15K, the whole LLC to someone who wanted it. So I got rid of it like weeks before Hurricane Harvey hit, which was like amazing. So then I get a call from the athletic director, and he goes, hey, Payne, listen, man, I never had to have the conversation with anybody before, but you're going to be a millionaire one day. You're going to make a lot of money, but please to God, you're here for one more year. Do not do any entrepreneurial ventures or anything on my campus while you're here. So, you know what? Fair point. I will not do that. So that was my last entrepreneurial thing I did while I was in college. But then I graduated from Rice 2018, and I had this idea that you could what it was a geolocation app that you can connect college kids with deals in their town. So hypothetically, you pass a Mexican restaurant, it says, hey, come in, buy 2 tacos, get a free cup of queso, or week free at a Soul Cycle class, or buy one movie ticket, get one movie ticket free, but when you just pass it, you get the notification. So that was a cool idea. I found someone at Rice who was really smart. He made the app for me. And then my brother at the time played football at Baylor. So I'm like, Baylor, Waco would be the perfect place to kick this off. So I went around, was door knocking, went up to these pretty popular restaurants and said, hey, how many people do I need to use this deal at your store for you to pay me $100 a month? $100 a month, guys, is not a lot of money when it comes to marketing or anything. So this is something, do some research before you figure out your pricing model. But they're like, okay, this is cute. This is cool. You're a hustler. If you can get 30 people in here in 1 month, I'll pay you $100 a month to be on your platform. I said, great, let's do it. Called my brother. I said, get every single one of your teammates to get a freaking taco and get queso. I was like, done. They all went in there. First month, we had 100 people come in. Next month, 500 people came in. Next month, 1,000 people came in. And this thing was just blowing up. Restaurant businesses were calling me all over Waco. Hey, how do we get on this? How do we get on this? At this point, I'm like, okay, maybe I'm undercharging a little bit. So I went up to that restaurant and said, hey, due to demand, we have to increase the price to $250 a month. Like, done. I'm like, oh, dang, it could have been more than that. But we were doing that. Then I figured out how to make it a double-sided market. So the restaurants were paying, And now the kids, if they want to get on the app, they can go to the Mexican restaurant and get, $1, they can get like 10% off their meal. Or if they paid a $5 a month subscription fee, they can get access to the premium deals, like the free quesos or the free movie tickets. So obviously everyone paid for that. We had a lot of success at Baylor, so we expanded to UNT, SMU, A&M, Texas State, and I'm like, I'm gonna retire at 25 years old. This is absolutely amazing. Well, then what happened 2 years after that? COVID hit, shut down the restaurants, shut down the bars, I'm like, okay, well, FML, don't know what I'm doing with my life. At the time, no one was hiring because COVID. So I'm like, I have all these business connections down in Houston. I don't really have any in Dallas. I'm from Dallas. Dallas is home, but I don't know anyone up here. So at the time, I applied, got into the SME Business School. And that's where I'm like, okay, I understand the whole entrepreneurial side of things, but I want to learn the business side, finance, so I don't make the mistakes that I made when I was just a young hustler. So while I was there, I joined this group called Goose Capital. That was an internship that I got. And what they're a group of Fortune 500 executives and serial entrepreneurs. So the people who were a part of this investment group was like the CEO of Southwest Airlines. It was one of the girls had a patent on the inhaler. And what they did is they just found really cool deals they wanted to invest in, and they all got together and they talked about, hey, should we make this investment? Oh yeah, let's make this investment. I have this connection here that can do this, that can do that. I'm like, perfect. This is like so cool watching the top people in business like invest in deals together from a lot of different industries. So I did that for a year, fell in love with venture capital, which is pretty much Shark Tank. And I was talking to my because the same year that I joined that, my brother got picked up by the Jacksonville Jaguars as a long snapper. So I had to go visit him, and everyone there calls me Brother Paine. Like, oh, Brother Paine's here. What do you do? And my brother's like, you wouldn't understand it, but he does Shark Tank. And everyone's like, Shark Tank, how do we play Shark Tank? We want to do that. So I had an idea. I'm like, this is really cool. There's a need for this. All these guys want to play Shark Tank. No one knows how to do it, but there's a ton of NFL guys that want to do it. So I left my internship, graduated, and then became the head of investor relations for a VC fund down in Austin. So if you know anything about VC, you have the finance guys and then you have the investor relations guys. The investor relations guys are the ones who they give you a credit card and say, hey, take these guys out for drinks, take these guys out for food, go to the suite with them, entertain them, have fun. And it was the coolest job ever. I loved it. It was a blast. So if you guys are not knowing what you want to do, I would look into doing something like that because it is a blast. So did that for 4 months. It was the most shortly lived career ever. And what happened was they realized I had all these NFL connections. And they're like, hey, we want you to raise a fund for us. We want you to run it. We'll give you carry. Carry's a profit that you make these guys, which is like what you want to get if you're ever doing a job like that. We'll give you a pay raise. I'm like, this is awesome. I have my dream job. They came back to me 2 weeks later and goes, actually, we can't do any of those things, but we still want you to run our fund and give us your athletes. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to give you Trevor Lawrence's information just so I get shafted to the side. So at that point, I said, you know what? So these guys want to do it. Someone's going to hire me. I know these guys. So I was door knocking. I went to every single VC in Austin, Dallas, San Antonio, Houston. And it's like, guys, I know Sam Ellinger. I know Will Levis. They want to invest. Hire me. They're your guys. And they're like, oh, that's cute. Like you had a beer with Trevor Lawrence. I'm like, no, like I know, like I'm telling you, I'm waving my red flags. I'm like, guys, hire me. And no one would bat an eye. So I said, all right, I'm going to do it myself. So what I decided to do at that point in time was, all right, who is the number one athlete who, if I had him, on my team, would I get credibility and people would want to invest with me? And I'm like, Tom Brady. How cool would it be to get Tom Brady to do business with? I thought about it. There's no way I'm getting a Tom Brady. He's such established. He already has such a guard around him. There's no way I'm getting to him. So what I did was I reached out to the top quarterbacks in the country at the time. I reached out to Will Levis from Kentucky, Sean Clifford from Penn State, Clayton Tune from Houston, Max Duggan from TCU, and Keaton Slovis from Pitt. I said, hey guys, I have this crazy idea. What if we made this investment group? But before we do it, in 6 months, you guys are going to have an ungodly amount of money. you guys should surround yourself with people who are really, really smart at what they do. So when you do finally make the money and people start hounding you, you already have a connection that you trust, who knew you when, that are here to help you. Like, okay, cool. So every other week, this is fall of 2022, we met on Zoom, and I would bring in really cool speakers. I brought in the Attorney General of Texas. I brought in Trevor Lawrence. I brought in the guy who created Rivals 247 Sports on 3. And they just said, hey guys, here's what I do. Here's how I made all this money. Here's my phone number if you need anything. Like, have fun. And all these guys are like, we don't know who the heck this Paine kid is, but he just knows everybody and he's here to help. So at that point, they were in love with just the whole process of everything that I was building. So this was last fall or last spring of 2023. All my guys got drafted, and I got a call from Will Levis. He's like, "Hey man, got some news for you." So what's up? He said, "There's this venture firm out in California called RX3 Venture Partners. RX3 Venture Partners is Aaron Rodgers' venture capital fund, and they have made some really badass investments. They've invested in the Daragun, if you heard of that. They've invested in hymns. They've invested in pretty much any really cool concept that is like, wow, every athlete's using this. They've invested in." And he said, "Hey, they want me to invest with them." I said, "All right, man. Well, you got to do what you got to do. Have fun." He goes, "No, man. I told him no." I said, "You told him no?" I was like, "Yeah." I said, "What'd you tell him?" He goes, "Oh, I'm investing with Paine Matiscik in Fourth and One Ventures." And I go, "Who is that?" He goes, "Oh, he's my buddy. We've been working together." He goes, "What are his returns like?" He goes, "He hasn't made an investment yet." And they're like, "What? You're going with him over us?" And I was like, "Yeah." Then he called me. He's like, "Hey, man, we're going to build this, and it's going to be a pretty badass company, and I'm excited to do it. And like, I'm all in." And at that point, I'm like, I think I have grounds for something. Like, this is really, really cool. So so we launched Fourth One Ventures May of 2023, right after the draft. And I knew that if people wanted to take me seriously, not just, being a raw, I'm working with athletes, we had to make an investment. So I'm looking all over for a cool investment we can make as our first investment. And the first investment that came across my desk, not first, but one of the coolest ones, was a company called Slate Milk. I don't know if you're familiar with Slate Milk, but Slate Milk, it's a protein drink. It's a high protein, low carb, low sugar, and they just became the official partner of the UFC. So they're going to be in the middle of the octagon this year. Dana White was a lead investor. And any of my guys, if they ever wanted a ringside seat to any of the events, just give them a call and they'll hook them up. I'm like, this is perfect. My guys are going to love this. So my brother comes back from practice. I'm like, "Hey, dude, I think I found our first investment." He goes, "What'd you got?" And I said, "This company called Slate Milk." He goes, "Oh my gosh, we love Slate Milk. It's already in our locker room. Everyone drinks it all the time." He comes back to the locker room, brings like every single flavor. We're drinking it. I'm like, this is really cool. So we make our first investment, goes really smoothly. And these athletes are like, they're pumped because it's something that they can go to the locker room every time they see someone else drinking it in the locker room, like, "You're making me money," right? And they love it. They're absolutely enthralled by it. And ever since then, we've been getting more members. I have a call actually with Sam Ellinger later this afternoon. People are just reaching out because there's no spot, and how venture works. And this is kind of how I kind of put my own flavor on it, is how venture capital works right now. Is if I have a venture fund and I go up to one of you guys and say, "Hey, you should invest with me," what I'm going to do is you're going to write me a check. Usually the minimum check size is 250K. You write me a check. I'll give you your money back in 7 to 10 years. And I make all the investment decisions. You're just on the sideline hoping that me, Paine, knows what I'm doing, and I give you the money back. Well, how I flip the tables on that is these guys like to play Shark Tank. So what I do is I go out, I go find a really cool deal. I send the product and the pitch deck to all the athletes that are in my group. So we have a group chat. Everyone's like, "Oh, I tasted this drink. This is awesome." Or, "I wore this hoodie and it's very comfortable. This pillow is so hard. I hate it." And every quarter, what we do is we vote on the top 4 companies that we like and that these guys would want to endorse, put on their Instagram and promote. And of the top 4 that we agree on, then what I do is I bring them in on Zoom. So we have all like 30 football players on a Zoom call, and the company comes in and he pitches them the idea. So they pitch them the idea. They have the product in front of them already, and they give them a 15-minute Shark Tank pitch. The athletes have 15 minutes to do Q&A and ask them questions that they want to know. And then at the end of it, we vote on the top 2 companies that we like. And then we have an analyst. We go in and do the due diligence, make sure the numbers make sense. "Hey, you said you had distributions all over the country with Target. Show us the contract. We'll make sure it makes sense." And if everything checks out, we say, "All right, guys, here's the deal we're going to do. I go to the company and say, hey, we're interested. How much money can we invest? They go, hey, $500,000. I say, great. I go to the guys and be like, hey, $500,000 is how much we have. First come, first serve. Let me know if you want in and how much you want to put in. And we write a check. And that's what we did. Then we're doing one this month called Jambies. It is like the most comfortable clothing you've ever worn in your life. The athletes wore it. Some of them wore it for their Monday night football fit. Really, really freaking cool. Fathead. I don't know if you heard of, you've all heard of Fathead, but they're doing a Fathead 2.0 where you put the sticker on your wall and you can scan it. LeBron James comes off the wall. You can have a conversation with him in full AI with his voice and you can talk to him. If you like the shoes he's wearing, you can click the shoes and it'll take you right to the store and you can like buy the shoes that he's wearing. I mean, it's pretty dang cool. But those are the companies we look at. They're called consumer brands. So things that these athletes can like feel, see, touch, and actually like promote on their platform and social media rather than just like crypto or real estate. So they're fun investments. But to that point, there's nowhere where these athletes can just put 25K into a deal that they specifically like while getting this deal flow without investing a significant amount of money that they have no say where the money goes. So yeah, that's I know that's a lot of information, but that's what I do, and that's what I do now. And yeah, Kevin, does that make sense?
That was your 30-second pitch. Paine, your story, we heard it last year at Toonie. It was great. That's why I wanted to have you speak to us. I'm gonna open it up for the class. If anybody wants to ask questions, if you can give us another 15, 20 minutes of questions and answers, if they have them. Yeah, they're normally quiet. So let's see how that goes. And if you can do that, I appreciate it. Anybody got questions? Like I said, nobody wants to ask questions.
That's fine.
Come on. We're not leaving until we've had at least 5 questions. All right, speak loud.
Have you been able to work with Tom Brady?
No, not yet. But I actually was with Peyton Manning 2 nights ago. So I'm working my way up.
How much do you think total you made off of pigs?
I probably made like 15K.
And I don't think we should sell pigs at McMurray. I don't think.
Don't sell pigs.
Anybody else? That's 2 questions. Need 3 more.
How was you able to stay consistent with like all the stuff you was going through, like, getting your business right and everything? Like, how was you able to
How was I able to stay consistent was just it's a grind, right? Like you're running freaking hundreds in off season, you hit the 7th one and you're like, I don't want to do this anymore, but if I do 3 more, I'm done. So it's more of just grind it out, right? Things aren't going to go right. Things aren't going to go your way, but then you have to figure out how to rebound and fix it, right? Like you're playing football and you have a 15-yard run and then you find out there's a flag for an offsides penalty and you're like, gosh, dang it, or a holding. And you're like, I got to do it again. Now it's not fair. You didn't have anything to do with that. That was outside of your control, but it happened. So you got to make up for it.
Max?
What do you think the hardest roadblock in transforming like your investor relations experience into 4th and 1? How do you think like translating that, like what was like that biggest roadblock in like actually creating the business?
Yeah. Okay. That's a good question. So like I said, I'm an investor relations guy. I'm the guy who like people like to go out with, have fun. They like me, but I don't have like a very, very strong financial background. So the first person I had to do is I had to hire someone who was really, really good at what I'm not good at. So whenever you find a company, is find something that that is like the yin to your yang, right? So like, yeah, I can get all these athletes super, super pumped up about working with me and they want to do really cool things. But at the end of the day, yeah, I'm a cool guy and they like hanging out. But it's if I don't make them money and I don't pick good investments, they're not going to stick around with me that long. So there's a lot of people out there who are really, really smart, but they can't get in front of some of the people I can get in front of. So that's where I can bring them in. And if I can find people who can complement what I'm good at, that's how ultimately I've been having success.
Yeah.
How'd you juggle the business side along with sports? Because especially at D1, you have a lot of hours put into sports. So
Yeah, I'm crazy. I'm crazy. Like it's one of those things where it's like everyone at school, if you're an athlete, like obviously you're known as the athlete, you're known as a person who is, you're fast, you make a lot of touchdowns, you're a good tackler, right? Well, I was known in football, but then I was also known in I spent a lot of time in the business school, and the business school, there was no undergraduate business program. So there was a lot of guys who were in the business school who were, 35, 40 years old, who were coming with a suit and tie every day. And there's me rolling in with my Rice football shirt on, with shorts and tennis shoes. Like, who is this kid? And they loved it. I mean, the administration and the people are like, this is just Paine hustling. Like, he came right from practice, and now he's here trying to learn and make connections and figure out how, if anything in here can help him further along whatever he's trying to do. So how did I juggle it? It was hard. It wasn't easy. I mean, there's a lot of people who do internships with football. There's a lot of people who take a lot of extra classes with football. My thing was doing all that, but then trying to build businesses and perfecting my craft.
There was another question?
So especially early on, like what approach are you taking network wise to build the connections that now have made you like successful?
Yeah. So my coach, this is the first thing I ever learned, is my coach always said, hey, whenever you're at spring ball or whenever you're at practice and you see some old heads on the sideline, like they're usually former players and they're here because they're not working because they made a lot of money. So you never know who your next angel is going to be. So if you see someone you don't know, just go up to them and shake their hand, introduce yourself. And 9 out of 10 times if they're there because they want to support you guys. And they say, hey, can we get a coffee? Can we get a meeting? Can we grab a beer? And just get to know who they are. Maybe they can't help you right now, or maybe they won't never be able to help you with what they do professionally, but they will know someone who will. And if you tell them your story and you tell them what you're trying to get to, they'll plug you in with people who can help you get to the next level of whatever it is you're trying to do. So perfect example right now, if any of you guys have any ideas that you want to bounce off me, or if you guys have some kind of goals that you want to do, reach out to me and I'd love to help you. And because of what I do now, especially in sports, I have a lot of financial advisors, a lot of agents, a lot of marketing reps. I had a call, I have a call tomorrow with the head of New Balance, which is crazy. He just reached out to me. He was like, hey, can we talk? And I was with the great grandson of Adidas 2 days ago. And it was just so cool. Just these guys are like, hey, how can we help? What can we do? And again, it takes some time to get up there where it's like, hey, we want to have a meeting with you and we know you're not going to waste our time, because these guys are really, really busy people. But now I like helping people. So if you guys ever needed a connection, you guys wanted to, get it connected with Adidas or the family office or corporate or New Balance or Noble, or again, those are just apparel brands. But if there's something you guys want to get connected with, I can be a conduit to get you to them. If that's something you guys wanted to do later on down the road, whether it's marketing, whether it's being a sport agent, whether it's, who knows what it is. That I say all that because that's my wheelhouse is sports, but there's a lot of business in sports, and a lot of money to be made.
Yeah, you brought up Therabody. When I was over in England with a study abroad group I took an entrepreneurial trip with some students, and we met with the global educator for Therabody, and we got to Zoom and talk to their guys and hear about Dr. Jason's story and how he got started and all the rest. And that's probably where some of your guys got invested in. So it's the connections. One more question. Anybody
It's all about who you know. All about who you know. That's literally key to life. And don't be mean to people.
Yes.
So how'd you say disciplined and motivated while you were starting and in after? Because I know you had that year break, your senior year where you weren't doing business or anything, and then you got back into it. So in the first half where you were doing entrepreneurship, and then after that where you started doing the investment, after you stayed on in those 2 areas.
You get it?
No, can you repeat that question?
How do you stay motivated? When you finish a degree and then you had downtime and you had the 1 year break, how did you stay motivated to keep going? What was your big drive, or what was your why?
I like creating things. That's honestly the answer. I like building things, like creating things, and I don't like. I tell people this. I'm probably the worst employee ever because I look at something when I work somewhere and I'm like, this could be done way better, and I can do it better. And I just like building brand new things that are innovative, that there's a better way to do it. And at the end of the day, business is like sports. Like you win a game if you have more points in business. Like, cool, we made $1,000 today. How can we make $2,000 tomorrow? The more money you have, the more points scored on the scoreboard. So it's fun. It's like you're always challenging yourself to better yourself, of always pushing the limit of what you think you're capable of. And that just gets me excited every day. 'Cause I get really pumped up about, okay, how can we do this better? How can we get people excited? How can we provide services to people that haven't been done, or something that they'd want to be a part of? So I know that's not really a good answer, but that's really what gets me excited. every day.
It was a great answer. We're gonna call it a day there. No major question that's gonna change the world. Okay. Payne, I really appreciate your time. Thanks very much for taking your time and talking to us.
course.
I'm gonna save the recording. I'll send you a copy of the link just for your records, but we'll definitely be talking down the road. I appreciate your time.
Of course, yeah. If anyone wants to add me on LinkedIn or anything, or have questions offline, feel free to add me.
Sounds
Bye,
good.
guys.
Thank you.
Okay.